In today's fast-paced real estate landscape, success demands more than surface-level expertise. It requires insight, adaptability, proven strategies, discipline, and the ability to take risk. The Agent Brew podcast blends candid conversations with wisdom from industry leaders who've walked the path before you. Think of us as your strategic pit stop to fuel your real estate journey. From the crossroads of the world in the heart of Times Square, welcome to Agent Brew. I'm your host, Eric Zollinger. This is a podcast that percolates real estate insights. Welcome, viewers and listeners. We welcome you to another edition of Agent Brew in person. Today's guest is Manek Mathur, part of the Stein team of Sotheby's International Realty in the Flatiron here in Manhattan. Welcome, Manek.
Thank you for having me, Eric.
It's so
excited to be here.
It's so good to see you. And we're starting, it's September, so it's the second and the quick selling season of the year. Why don't we get started? I like agents to talk about themselves and their elevator pitch.
Sure. My name is Manek, like you said. I got into real estate back in 2020-21, when it was probably a really tough time to get into the business by way of a professional squash career. I had an injury in 2018, bought a condo in 2018, so that sort of experience is my first parlay into real estate. And in 2020, when the world shut down and I couldn't play squash anymore, I was like, all right, now's that time to pivot and do the next thing. And real estate was the perfect crossroads for me to continue to meet new people, work with people, make an impact. Because when I played squash, I taught a bit and I love to sort of help people and put that smile on someone's face. And real estate allows me to do that at a very different level. And at the same time, it's my sort of way to scratch my competitive itch and be entrepreneurial. And, it's a conglomerate of everything that I really enjoy. So here we are, four and a half years later.
That's great. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Mumbai, India.
Really? Oh my gosh, it's a great city. I visited 10 years ago.
No way. Okay.
Yeah.
I grew up there, born and raised, moved here for college in 2006 and played squash for college, and yeah.
What city?
I went to Hartford, Connecticut.
Got it.
Trinity.
Oh, Trinity. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
So I guess how does one, I didn't know squash even had a professional league.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, there's the singles tour, there's a doubles tour. I played on the doubles tour. The doubles tour is mainly in North America, so I kind of traveled around all over the place, playing different tournaments, meeting different people. And then as a junior, I played singles for India, and I traveled the world, met people of different backgrounds and cultures. And I think that's something that also allows me to be compassionate and understanding of people of different backgrounds now when I'm talking about buying or selling or renting real estate.
Well, I'm sure very outgoing, visiting so many new locations.
Sure.
A lot of times people come into real estate later on. So what was that curating moment? Why real estate?
Yeah, so like I said, I think I bought my condo in 2017.
Here in the city?
In the city.
Okay, so you went from Hartford, Connecticut to here.
Correct.
And were you still playing squash?
I was still playing squash.
Okay.
I was teaching squash in the city in Manhattan at the time. Bought my condo, and that was my sort of first moment into the industry. And I was like, this is amazing. You get to touch and feel this asset that you're investing in, and I love the process. And
did you buy a co-op or you said condo, so it was much easier process.
And it was in Brooklyn too, so
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so small little boutique building which I still own. I rent it out now. Miss it very often. But no, that was my parlay into the business, and sparked the light bulb moment. I was like, okay, I could probably do this when I'm done playing. And then 2020 was when I was like, all right, it's time to hang up the rackets and try and do this.
I mean, it's a very difficult time, right? In any industry. Yeah. In 2020, you're talking about the beginning of the pandemic, especially here in the city, was very difficult. I actually had moved out in 2019. Wow. I was away for 3 years, still doing real estate though in Chicago and Texas. But I remember coming to visit, and it was a very difficult time, 2020. Now, 2021, it kind of went to the direct opposite. But I'm curious, how did you get your start? Because you're not from here. You don't have a base here. So what did that initial time period look like? How did you become the successful agent that you are today? And was it, did you have a mentor? What was that?
Man, it was definitely a lot of stressful days, stressful moments. But I think for me, so 2020 was that year where I actually went and got my license, right? So I think everything was shut down. I actually had to drive to Albany to sit in a room there because everything in the city was closed down.
Oh, wow.
Which was it's just different. But I think, when I started when I started actually getting out there, the city had opened back up. But it was that period where, market was very, very soft. People were just trying to get out. And, so I saw it at its down cycle. And then in 21, when the market came back, I saw it coming back. And so within a span of 12 months in my first year, I kind of saw both sides to the industry, which was super interesting. In terms of mentors, I've had a lot of friends and then colleagues over the years who've been very helpful. And I think that's something from playing squash. I was never afraid to sort of talk to competitors, talk to former players and things like that to kind of gauge and gain knowledge from their experiences. And that's what I did here too. And now I work on the Stein team with Jeremy and Robin Stein, who've been doing this for like 20 or 25 years. And they've been tremendous to help me sort of, jump through some steps or jump over some steps, as you'd say, to kind of not make some of the mistakes they did. And it's been instrumental to sort of growing my book of business and my career.
Real estate is all about relationships, but it's also a very collaborative sport if you allow it to be. Yeah. And the industry has certainly changed over time. Some people have been not so willing to share information, but one of the things I've always thought about with my career, information should be shared, not hoarded, right? So it's always the best agents out there that are willing to share and help others, from what I've noticed. And really, especially in New York City, other markets tend to be a little bit more guarded, but I have found, not coming from here or not being from here, most of us come to the city wanting to crush it. Right. So we have a great work ethic, and people that are here recognize that, and they're more than willing to help people that are willing to work hard. So it sounds like that's you took the strengths and the discipline from squash and applied them to real estate.
100%.
What would you say is your biggest challenge right now?
But to your point, like you just mentioned, I think Jeremy, when I got into working with them in the team, I think he always said that, don't look at the other agents as competition, but more like colleagues.
Absolutely.
You get to learn from them, but at the same time, you might be doing something for them now, but there'll be a time where they'll need to do something for you. And those sort of relationships are crucial for our clients when we sort of in negotiations and things like that. I think that's something that, I've learned very early on, and that sort of helped me a ton.
There's been several deals that I've done throughout my career that the only reason the deal was done is because I was on the other side. There were other, sometimes better apartments, but with agents that were nasty or that they weren't willing to negotiate or be a little bit more open. Yeah. And so they knew that I was going to get the job done. So I beat them out. And it's just amazing. At the end of the day, you might not get every deal, but your reputation matters. And I'm glad to hear that you've taken on that same kind of mantle and are seeing the fruits of that core value. Any particular wins that you're proud of?
Yeah, a bunch. I think this year was the first time my first deal that I helped someone buy, they sold. So I thought that was a very sort of full circle moment, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I sold a townhouse in Brooklyn this year, which took me a year. It was completely off market, no photos, no marketing material.
So what ultimately, allowed people to,
so I had to sort of talk about the address, really talk about the size. But beyond that, I had to sit down and identify who that buyer was. And it was either an end user or a developer who'd want to come in and flip it. And so I basically went around the neighborhood, different projects that I saw going on, and talked to different developers, and eventually found two buyers, had a little bit of a bidding war, and went above ask, right? So it was.
Wow, that's fantastic. Good for you.
Thank you. It was a slog, but a special family, special property. But yeah, that's probably my biggest win today.
I mean, it really sheds light on you only need one buyer.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to find the needle in the haystack, but that one person could be out there if the stars align.
And it's not a simple thing. Like you just found our business is not like, okay, you have a listing, you put it online and you sit back and wait. There's strategy behind trying to find that buyer, trying to find that consumer who wants what you have,
So any transformational losses throughout your life or career you mentioned an injury.
Yeah.
And squash.
Injury was big. I think, that was kind of one of those moments where, I was 27, I think, but, and you realize you're not that young, invincible, took person anymore, and you actually have to think bigger picture. So, there were many days I was sitting on my couch, just kind of like leg out, thinking about what that sort of next phase of life would look like. And I think, that was definitely a change. I've learned a lot from every loss, and I will always use a sports sort of analogy for that, right? I think for me, it was always going back to the drawing board, whether it was losing a bidding war or a squash match, just kind of like, why did we lose that? Why did I lose that? What could I have done better? What were they better than me at? What can I take away from them, from their process and how they handle it that I should implement into mine? I think you learn your most from losses, really.
Absolutely, 100%. It's like, it's only a loss if you don't learn from it.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So
I think you have to analyze and you have to get better. And I think that's what makes us better professionals, better humans, and better athletes, however you want to look at it.
What is your greatest challenge for your business right now, would you say?
It's a good challenge. I think, I'm in that place now in my business where, when I got in, everybody's like, this is a snowball business, and, it'll take some time to sort of build that momentum, and then the snowball will happen. It'll start get bigger and bigger. And I feel like I'm at that sort of inflection point right now, where I have a good amount of inbound, and I'm trying to relearn how to manage my time.
Right.
What I can do myself, what I can hand off, that sort of a thing. So that's sort of my biggest challenge right now in my day-to-day and in my business. Sure.
Is it all business and no play? Do you have any extracurricular activities that kind of refuel you or motivate you?
Which comes down to managing my time, right? I think 2025 has been a lot of work, no play, and so I think this August, which is our slow time, I took a step back and I was like, okay, like what am I doing for myself, and how can I continue to make sure I'm sharp and happy? And so yeah, I still play a lot of squash. I enjoy playing golf and tennis, and I love my gym sessions, and that's kind of what I love to do. I used to enjoy music a ton, which I'm trying to find ways to get back into. I used to produce and DJ and things like that.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I'm not gonna get into that. Just enjoying going out, listening to music, and activating the other side of my brain a bit more, for sure.
All right, so let's play the gratitude game. This is rose, thorn, bud, but we do it with a little twist of coffee, because we are the Agent Brew.
Yeah.
So it is the aroma, the brew, the grinds, and the fresh beans. So we start with the aroma, that I'm not sure if you're a coffee drinker, but it's, I grind my beans every morning because I just love that fresh scent of the fresh ground coffee. Yeah. So about the aroma, what motivates you? What gets you out of bed in the morning?
I think for me, it's the version of me that I want in 5 years.
Okay.
I think that's kind of what excites me to get up today, to put in the work for what I want to be in 3 or 5 years. I think that's kind of what excites me to sort of push now, so that way, I'm as level up or 2 levels up in 5 years and go from there. Great.
So the next bud is what we call the brew, that first cup of coffee that kind of sustains you, really gets you going. So I like to consider it, what is your why?
My why, for me, my why is basically being able to interact with people at a very deep level and at a very sort of impactful level. And when I was teaching, I got to put smiles on kids' faces who then eventually got to be able to play in college and things like that. And that sort of impact is kind of what drives me in real estate, is like being able to help someone find their first home that they love and invest in, and then hopefully sell it again. And, you know, it's their little seed, you know, and that sort of impact and powerfulness is kind of what is my why.
You know, we're a service industry, and unfortunately, I think a lot of agents have lost the heart of that. I won't go too deep, but you know, a lot of the reality shows have really taken the heart out of what we do and made it more robotic or just about the money. And you know, I've always said I'm not a one deal person. I'm about the longevity and the career. So it's very aspirational to hear you talk about, you know, the core of why you do it is to help people.
For sure.
And
it's a long-term business too. Right?
Yeah.
I think it's not, to your point, it's not a one deal, one and done sort of situation. I think you have to be in this business long-term. And, you know, I'm sitting here telling you I've been doing this for 5 years, which is not that long in comparison to some agents, but, you know, 5 years in, I'm actually starting to feel the fruits of my labor that were a few years ago, right? So I think that's kind of my mindset, my approach, and I think that's important.
so the grinds are something that is like the thorn in your side or the frustration. What are you trying to work through right now that is causing you a little bit of angst?
I think back to what we discussed. I think it's the sort of how to allocate my time and how do I sort of be the best version of myself, whether it's personally or professionally, and how I can sort of, you know.
It never goes away. I'll be honest with you. That frustration, just get used to it, because you know, you just have to evolve.
It's a good problem.
Absolutely.
Because once you figure that out, and you grow. With growth comes more sort of problems, right?
Right.
And for lack of a better word. And I think, you know, of course, every step you take, that will continue to grow. And like right now, I'm just trying to figure out a simple concept of better time management. And that's sort of my thorn, I'd say.
You know, from what I've learned is that it's all about creating the process and then being able to scale that or just repeat it. Are there any programs? Like, I love Monday.com, and I know I have a lot of people laughing at me right now. It changed my life because it was the first program that actually I got, because it was just so intuitive.
Yeah.
So are there any programs that you use to manage your time?
Man, so when I first got into business, I started here at Elegran.
Oh, okay.
And so Salesforce was what they used there. Yeah. And that was my first introduction to a CRM. And like, it transformed my life. And so today at Sotheby's, we have something called Close, which I use really.
We have that at Corcoran too.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Nice. So I use my CRM for everything. I email myself a lot if I have certain things that I need to do, but I think CRM and sort of Microsoft To Do is sort of my main sort of ethos, and I live around that, and that's it. Yeah.
Great. So the last part of the gratitude game is the fresh beans or the bud. Yeah. Is there any project that you're working on that you'd like to talk about, or a new listing, or media campaign?
I think yes, there's some stuff that's going on. You know, there's a very interesting project in Tribeca that we're working on right now that I can't say about. But
so it's all about stay tuned, right?
It's all about stay tuned, but it's a one of a kind opportunity. So if you have a buyer looking for something in Tribeca, give me a pull. But I think the blood, I guess, what you're looking for, I think for me is sort of building my sort of business right now outside of Manhattan too.
Okay.
Where this is
still the tri-state area, or like even beyond?
Even beyond, like internationally. I'm going to Europe on Sunday, so that'll be very exciting. And, you know, sort of be a you know, obviously New York City first focus real estate agent, but then also have my different avenues where my clients travel and go, and be able to have my sort of hands in different markets and different pockets, and also become a little more savvy with real estate across the country and the world.
Got it. So what does success look like to you?
Success is happiness.
Okay.
And that's kind of, I think you have to find what makes you happy, and how do you achieve being happy. And for me, that's success.
Very good. So we come to my favorite part of the show. This is where I ask every guest, Manek, if you could give your young agent self a piece of advice, not someone young today,
Yeah.
you yourself, what would it be?
My advice to myself would be, to trust the process. I think when I was starting out, it was a lot of like, okay, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, I'm going to do this. And like, I was sort of very overwhelmed and very intimidated by the business, because you literally get your license and you start at zero and you just have no idea what to do. But I think if you trust the process and you create systems that you believe in, I think if you stick with it, it'll take some time, but it'll be fine. That's kind of what I wish I told myself then, and I probably did, but didn't really believe it. But
Well, you're definitely on the right path.
Thank you.
And we certainly look forward to seeing your great success and happiness in the future. Positive quotes and motivation have always played a big role in my life. So that's why I always ask, is there a particular quote that you like or that inspires you?
Yeah. Focus on the seeds and not the trees.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Focus on the seeds and not the trees.
Yeah.
Is there a person that or book you got that from?
It's by James Clear.
James Clear. Okay.
I sort of get his emails every few weeks, and he has a couple of quotes in there. And this one was a few months ago, and it just kind of stuck out to me based on kind of, from a business perspective or relationships perspective or anything that you're doing. It's kind of, it's the process, and you kind of have to like focus on what you're building, what you're creating, rather than the present.
Well, the one I chose for you this week is by Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn, it was an early inspirator for Tony Robbins.
Oh, wow.
And I did Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within last year, and really incredible. So when I found this quote, I thought, oh, this would be a great one to use as a younger agent. This is, motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. And that's Jim Rohn. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. So we'd like to say thank you to being our guest during season 2 of Agent Brew. Our guest this week is Manek Mathur of Sotheby's International Real Estate. We wish you success and continued happiness.
Thank you.
And hopefully you'll come back in the future to share the projects that you're working on.
Would love that. Thank you for having me. Honored to be the first one for season 2.
All right. Well, reminding everybody, I'm Eric Zollinger, your host, and it's a great day for real estate. We look forward to seeing you on a future episode. The Agent Brew podcast is brought to you by Realtyco. Realtyco is your partner in real estate, bringing you game-changing benefits and services to empower your business. Visit realtyco.com for more information.